So downloads is the folder name. Then I'll press enter. Now inside download,
And what happened the voice?
Again, the voice is gone. Gajen Sahab, you need to check.
yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, now.
Yeah. So just now here power went, so I have connected back with my mobile data. So again, if you face any problems, if you are not able to hear me, just message me.
I think now this time it's more clear and louder. Continue, please.
Thank you, madam. Okay, I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
So now I have navigated to sysinternal suite here. So here I will execute a command cache set. So this is the name of the command. So there are two ways of executing this command. Either you can execute this command on a command prompt, or you can go to the folder and double click on .exe file. तो आप चाहिए तो कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट से भी एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हो, नहीं तो GUI से भी एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हो. So I am typing the command cache set. I'll press enter. So I'll click on install anyway. Again it asks for the permission. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? I'll say yes. So now you can see here that it's a very small tool. Okay. So the current size is around 40 MB, I guess, and the peak size is around 50 MB. But the working set minimum is 1024 KB. That means it is 1 MB, and this is the maximum value you can set. Okay. So based on your requirement, you can modify this. If the cache allocated is very less, then you can use cache set tool to modify the minimum and maximum values, so that you can get more cache space here, and you can click on apply. So when you click on apply, the new values are assigned. So it is between 1 MB and 41 MB. But if you want, you can click on reset. So if you click on reset, the default values will be applied. Okay. But if you want, you can modify it. Now when you click on reset, now again you can see here that it has reset to 1 MB. Now whatever modifications you are going to do in this tool, these modifications will be applied immediately. So you need not have to reboot the system. You just need to change the values and apply. Okay. So cache memory is a temporary memory. It's a fast memory. So your data and applications will be brought to cache memory for execution. And once it is done, it will be moved out of the cache. So the amount of cache memory will definitely affect the performance or the efficiency of the application. So you can handle this issue by changing the cache memory range. So what I suggest is, anyway I have shared the link of the sysinternals tutorial. So please read the description of these tools and try to practice them. So it's given here clearly how you can start using these tools. Next is config tool. So I hope that you might have used disk defragmenter tools. So if you have not used disk defragmentation, then you can just search here disk defragmenter. So you can see here on my screen, it shows defragment and optimize drives. I'll click on it and I'll say run as administrator. Now you can see here that it is showing me a GUI where it is showing the drive letters. On my system, I have 4 drives. One is C drive, D drive and E drive. So all these are hard disk partitions. Then it is also showing what is the current status. So it shows that the C drive is only 5% fragmented. Then it is 0% fragmented and E is also 0% fragmented. And it is not available for CD-ROM. So you cannot perform defragmentation or fragmentation on CD drives. Okay, it should be on hard disk drives. Okay. Now why are you going to use this tool? It's very simple. When you create files internally on the hard disk, it is stored in different blocks. So you might be knowing that it is divided into sectors and clusters. So on these clusters, it is stored as a block. Okay, and these blocks are stored randomly anywhere on the hard disk. तो क्या होता है, ये जो फाइल रहता है आपका, वो डिफरेंट ब्लॉक्स में बटा हुआ रहता है और वो हार्ड डिस्क में कहीं पे भी स्टोर हो सकता है. तो एक ब्लॉक फर्स्ट क्लस्टर में, सेकंड ब्लॉक फिफ्थ क्लस्टर में, थर्ड ब्लॉक 10th क्लस्टर में, राइट. So randomly these blocks are stored on the hard disk. There is no particular order. So that's why whenever you are accessing a file, it is very slow. Now how you can increase the speed or increase the performance? You have to bring all these related blocks to one side at one place. So disk defragmentation will do that. Okay, so disk defragmentation will do that. It will bring different file blocks associated with single file to a single place. so that whenever you start accessing that file, you can access it faster. So now with this inbuilt disk defragmentation tool, you can defragment the entire drive. Okay, that means all related blocks will be grouped and they will be brought together. So if you click on analyze, it will start the defragmentation. So it's a very slow process. It usually takes hours to defragment the hard disk. So first step, it will analyze it, then it will defragment it. So if you are feeling that your system is working slow, then go for defragmentation. So definitely it will increase the speed of accessing the files. अगर आपको लगता है कि आपका सिस्टम स्लो हो गया है तो डिफ्रैगमेंटेशन टूल यूज कीजिए, तो आपका सिस्टम का स्पीड बढ़ जाएगा. बट इट्स अ वेरी स्लो टूल. इट विल टेक आवर्स. 2 घंटा लग सकता है, 3 घंटा लग सकता है. इट डिपेंड्स. It will complete the analysis bit faster, but fragmentation will take time. Okay, let's wait for the analysis and see. So let it do the analysis. So let's come back to the config. Now there's a difference between the tool which I have shown, that is the disk fragmentation, and this config tool. Now config is a file fragmentation tool. It's a file defragmentation tool. Okay, config is a file defragmentation tool, whereas whatever I had shown just now, it is disk defragmentation tool. Okay, so what config does? So there are different blocks of the same file which are dispersed or which are stored at different places on the hard drive. So what config does is it brings them together so that you can access that file faster. So you can defragment specific files using config. It is not a disk fragmentation. It is not a disk defragmentation. It is file defragmentation. Okay. तो 2 टाइप्स के टूल्स है यहाँ पे. एक है डिस्क डिफ्रैगमेंटर और दूसरा है फाइल डिफ्रैगमेंटर. डिस्क डिफ्रैगमेंटर वो पूरा डिस्क में जितने भी फाइल्स है और जितना भी उनके एसोसिएटेड ब्लॉक्स है वो सभी को एक तरफ लेके आएगा. लेकिन क्वांटिक क्या करेगा, वो सिर्फ ब्लॉक्स एसोसिएटेड विद अ सिंगल फाइल उसको एक ही तरफ लेके आएगा. So in this way, if you are accessing any file frequently, so accessing it will become faster. So that is the difference between disk defragmentation and file defragmentation. यहाँ पे कैच भी है. After performing file defragmentation using config, if you go for disk defragmentation, again it will change the order. तो जो भी रिजल्ट रहेगा आपका config कमांड का वो ओवरराइड हो सकता है. Okay, so let's execute config simultaneously. Yeah, you can see here it has started fragmentation also now. after completing okay, fine. So let's go to config. I'll just type config here, and now you can see here that it is displaying the usage of config command. That is how can I use this command. So you have to mention the command name, that is config. Then you need to mention the appropriate switch. If you want to analyze the file, then you have to specify -a. If you want to analyze free space fragmentation, then you have to specify -f. If you want to create a new file, then you have to specify -n. Then if you want to search in subdirectories, so -s is a very useful option. So when you have folders inside folders, that is the nested folders, at that time you can use recurse subdirectories. तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, फोल्डर है, उसके अंदर फोल्डर है, वो फोल्डर के अंदर और एक फोल्डर है, वो फोल्डर के अंदर और एक फोल्डर है, ऐसे फोल्डर के अंदर फोल्डर्स रहते हैं. तो यू कैन यूज -s ऑप्शन. तो वो 1 by 1 सब डायरेक्टरीज को चेक करेगा और एनालाइज करेगा. ओके, सो लेट्स check how this command works. I am going to use two switches, config -a and f. So before that I'll have to select some file. So to know the file names, I'll type dir. So let me choose any file name here. I'll say config -af, then I'll say vmmap.chm. vmmap.chm. So now you can see here that it is showing the summary. Number of files processed 1, number of unsuccessfully processed 0, then average fragmentation is 1 fragmentation per file. So let me give again a different file name. So this time I'll say zoom it. zoomit.exe. So now you can see here zoomit.exe is a single file, but it has been divided into 3 fragments. Okay, so these 3 fragments may be stored anywhere on the hard disk, but if they are not closely stored, then accessing the file becomes slower. Okay, so that's why you should go for config command and defragment the file. So let's use wildcard character star. Now what will happen now is it will fragment all the files in the folder. Okay, so in previous examples we were defragmenting only single file. Okay, so we were defragmenting only single file, but now let us specify star. So now you can see here it is showing the summary. So what summary it is showing now? Number of files processed are 159. Number unsuccessfully processed 0. Okay. Now what is the average? Average fragmentation is 2.4 fragments per file. So you can see here, you can just scroll up here and see. So some files are divided in 5 fragments, right? For example, this one, share enum 64.exe is in 5 fragments. then RDC man in 4 fragments, right? TCP Vcon in again 2 fragments. Okay, so we have defragmented all the files. That means we have brought together the different fragments associated with that particular file. तो एक ही जगह पे लेके आए हम डिफरेंट फ्रैगमेंट्स जो भी थे उस फाइल का. So this is about counting. So you can see here that in disk defragmentation, it is saying that current status pass 1 0% relocated. So you can see here that it is going to relocate the different fragments. That means all related blocks, all related fragments will be placed at a single place so that you can access them faster. Okay, so I hope it's clear that you now have disk defragmentation and you now have file defragmentation. So using defragmentation utilities, you can access the files faster. Now you can also see here that config file or config command can also analyze and defragment the metadata files. So what are these metadata files? Say for example there is a log file. So whatever activity you do on the computer, it will be logged into some text file or a log file. Log files will be generally having the .log extension. Okay. So in log files, all your system activities, that means which file you have selected, which file you have created, which file you have modified, which file you have deleted, when, what things or what contents you have added, everything is recorded in the log file. Okay. So similarly, since it is a log file, again it will be divided into different fragments and they will be stored on different locations. Okay. The next is there is something called as $bad cluster. So it refers to bad clusters on the hard disk. So you can even analyze bad clusters. You can bring together bad clusters if possible. But generally it may not be possible to bring together the bad clusters because it is marked by the software that it is not usable. So you cannot store the content on the bad cluster. Next command is disk to VHD. So let's execute disk to VHD and see what happens here. So again, it's going to ask for a permission. So now it says that error launching 64-bit version, the system cannot find the file specified. So this time I have added 64 value. So it is trying to execute now. Yeah. So you can see here it is displaying the similar information which we had seen in our previous command, right? So in our previous command also it has displayed the volume labels, right? C, D and D drives, Then it has also displayed the size. And it is now also displaying the space required. Okay. Now there are some checks here. First one is prepare for use in virtual PC. Now what it means is that, and what's the VHD extension or what is VHDX is that you are going to create virtual hard disk of the physical hard disk, which can be accessed in the virtual machine created using Microsoft Virtual PC software. Okay, so there are many virtualization softwares. You might have heard the name of VMware. You might have heard the name of Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, so using these tools, you can create or you can virtually install operating systems. Okay, so what happens now is that you need not have to physically install any operating system. For example, I will show the demonstration of VMware. Say for example, I'll go here and I'll search for VMware. I'll click on it. So now you can see here on my desktop, there are various operating systems which are installed as a virtual operating system. So I have Windows XP here, I have Kali Linux, I have Ubuntu 64-bit, then I have Debian 64-bit. So it becomes very difficult for me to create a multi-bootable systems. Okay, I cannot install all these operating systems on my hard disk because it's going to eat the space, right? So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the virtual machine. So I have already created the virtual machine, so and they have been already imported. So I can click any version here, any operating system. If I want to boot Windows XP, I'll click on Windows XP and I'll click on play the virtual machine. If I click on Kali Linux, then I'll select Kali Linux and I'll click on the green arrow button, that is play virtual machine. Okay. So let me load Kali Linux. Now note here that this Kali Linux is loaded on top of my Windows 11. Okay. I have not reinstalled the system. I am not rebooting the system. Okay. Instead it is running on top of the Windows 11. Okay. So here Windows 11 is known as host operating system. Kali Linux is known as guest operating system. Okay. So the operating system on which you load the new OS is called as host operating system, and the operating system which you are loading is known as guest operating system. So in this way you can load any number of operating systems on your machine. So now you can see here that two operating systems are running simultaneously. One is Windows 11 and second one is Kali. So I can switch to any operating system anytime. So it will take couple of minutes more. So like VMware, Microsoft has also got the software. So now you can see here that it is asking me to enter the username and password. I'll enter the username as Kali and password also as Kali, and I'll click on login. Okay, so this is Kali Linux GUI. So Kali Linux is the Linux version which is specifically used by hackers and forensic experts. So here you will find all the tools required for your purpose. So you can see here you will find tools for information gathering, vulnerability analysis, web application analysis, database assessment, password attacks, wireless attacks, reverse engineering, exploitation tools, sniffing and spoofing, then post exploitation. Even you can see here forensics. So you have forensic carving tools, forensic imaging tools, PDF tools. You have a tool called Zatopsy, Winwalk, bulk extractor, hash deep. Then you have also got the reporting tools. Okay, but this is not the only operating system. You have got several operating systems. So Kali is one of them. You have operating system called as Parrot OS. You have operating system called as Security Onion. You have operating system called as CSI Linux. You have something called as Arch Linux. Okay, but Kali Linux is one of the most widely used operating systems. So note here that I have virtually installed it on my machine. So anytime I can go to Windows, I can go to Linux. So I need not have to restart my machine. So I'm shutting down my Kali Linux. So as I have said, VMware is one software. So similarly, Microsoft has also got their own software. So by which you can create the virtual edition. Okay, fine. So now one more greatest utility of this 2 VHD software is that it makes shadow copy. So you can see here that there is a tick mark and you can click on it and you can make a shadow copy of the drive. Okay, and this shadow copy will be stored here. That's in the C drive. If you want, you can change the location. Now, once you click on create, it starts creating the shadow copy and it starts creating the snapshot of the drive. See, this is very important utility when you consider forensic point of view. Now, let's assume a scenario that investigation officers have confiscated some laptop or a desktop. So when they had raided the location, right, when they had a raid on the location, they had discovered that some systems were on. Now note here that it is very important that they take the snapshot of the current state of the system. For example, they cannot shut down the system. They cannot, if the system is on, then they cannot turn it off. If it is off, then they cannot turn it on. Okay, so let's assume a scenario where the system was on. Okay, and they want to maintain the status. So in that case, without shutting down, they have to maintain the system status. So one thing what they can do is they can just pull the plug. Okay, remove it from the power outlet. So if it is a laptop, then without shutting down the laptop, they need to take it to the lab and take the snapshot. Okay, why? Because there will be lots of information which is stored in the volatile memory. So volatile memory means RAM. Okay, so RAM is a volatile memory. So we know that the information from hard disk will be brought to the RAM and then it is served to you, right? So if you restart the system, information stored in the RAM will be lost. Okay, so it is very important for them to take the snapshot of the volatile memory. Okay, so the order is that they will first get the snapshot of the information which is stored in most volatile places. Then they will go to least volatile places. For example, they will take the snapshot of information stored in RAM. They will take the information stored in cache. Later on, they can take the snapshot of the hard disk. Okay, they can take the information stored in temporary internet files folder, browser cache. So all volatile information will be captured first. Okay. So this is very important. So before performing any analysis, they need to take the snapshot of the current status of the system. Okay. So that's why such tools can be used. Now this is not the only tool again. There was a tool by Norton antivirus company that is called as Ghost. So with Ghost again you could perform disk to disk copy. Again it used to do the same thing such as shadow copy. Okay, so with shadow copy you can take the snapshot of the system at a particular time. Okay, so snapshot means RAM में क्या चल रहा था, कैश में क्या चल रहा था, हार्ड डिस्क पे क्या चल रहा था, डेस्कटॉप पे क्या चल रहा था. Okay, so सभी इंफॉर्मेशन वो कैप्चर करेंगे with shadow copy. Okay, with snapshots. So such tools are very important. Okay, and these tools should ensure that whenever they are taking the snapshot, it is not changing the files, it is not altering the content, because the goal of forensics is to submit the evidence in the court. Okay, so if your software is altering something, then definitely it is altering the evidence. Okay, so you have to make sure that the tool you are using, okay, is not altering the evidence. Okay, is not altering the RAM, is not altering the cache. Okay, instead it is just taking the snapshot. Okay, so that you need to ensure. Now if I click on create here, okay, so it says that there is no enough space. Okay, so you should select such a location where the snapshot has to be stored.
Gajen sir, just sorry for interruption. Can we take
Amen.
this shadow file same as a process called bitmap streaming or bitmap streaming? Is it the same thing or different?
Bitmap streaming is different.
This is different.
Yeah, that is different, madam. We'll take it up in the next class.
ठीक.
Bitmap streaming. So now I'll try to create a snapshot of the smallest volume here. So it says that only 74 MB is required, so I can do that. So, okay, it's not allowing me. Okay, let me select a different location. Okay, I'll have to just select one. So now you can see that it is snapshotting the first volume. So again, it will take some time. Now, one important insight what I would like to give here is that there are lots of tools, but how you are going to use those tools is left to you. For example, WhatsApp. So WhatsApp can be used to reduce the file size of the images. When you send different photos, right? When you take a picture, usually the size of the picture will be 3 MB, 5 MB, 6 MB, depending on the resolution of the photo. But when you send it over WhatsApp, okay, its size will be drastically reduced. Okay, so similarly, it depends how you are going to use which tool. So that's why I use many times WhatsApp to reduce the files of the images so that I can include them whenever I'm designing some web pages. So that's my practical utility with respect to my profession, you can say. So similarly, there are other tools. So I was speaking about Norton Ghost, right? So Norton Ghost can be used as a forensic tool because it can take the snapshot of the entire operating system. But in some institutions, it is used to install the software. So generally what they do is they prepare one system, they install the operating system, they install all the patches, they install all the softwares. Once it is ready, they take the snapshot of that system and go on dumping on all the 50 systems in the lab or all the 100 systems in the lab. So with that, in just 2 to 3 minutes, each system will be ready. So that is their utility. So it depends. So there will be different tools. How we use those different tools to achieve our goals is left to us. So after this to VHD, I think it has created a file in D drive. Maybe I'll have to check. Okay, that's fine. So once the image is created, you need to use analysis tools. Okay, so which can understand these VHD extension and analyze the content. So this is just the first step. The next is disk ext tool. Let me type disk ext. So now what this tool is doing is it is displaying the information about different partitions of the hard disk. Okay, so I have a single hard disk, but it is divided into multiple partitions. तो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो कोई C ड्राइव है, D है, E है, right? But it's a single partition. So C is a primary hard disk and primary drive, but D and E are their logical drives. So it is showing the information about these different drives which are connected to my machine. So basically, it is showing that what's the length, what's the volume, where it is mounted, and so on. So it's a very small utility which simply displays the information about the hard disk. That too, what are the different partitions it has. That's it. But there are more advanced tools which can give you more advanced information. So diskmon tool is actually not working. Okay, so it is giving the error enabling the disk tracing, access is denied. Fine, but we'll see what it does. So diskmon stands for disk monitor. Basically, it is logging each and every activity associated with that disk into a log file. Okay. So in forensics, log files are very important. Right? They are like your CCTV camera footage. Right? So whenever you want to find the evidence, you look at the CCTV camera footage, right? So similarly, this is like your CCTV camera footage. Whatever activity you are doing, it is recording and it is dumping it into a log file. Okay. So with that, you will be able to discover what is happening in the disk, what kind of activity you have done, what kind of data is stored where. But you have alternative tools. So instead of diskmon, you can start using other tools. So we'll see the alternatives later. The next is disk usage. So let's type du. So you can see the usage here. Again, you have to specify the switch. Then if you want, you can specify the levels. So levels are -10, -v, -u and -q. So -u means count each instance of hard linked file. Then -v means show size in kilobytes of all subdirectories. So -c means print output as CSV. So CSV stands for comma separated values. Okay, so you can store comma separated values in Excel also. So generally CSV is most widely used format. So most of the data sets, most of the formats of the log files, right, they are all in CSV. Okay. So we'll execute one command and see its output. So I think maybe example is given here. Okay, fine. It's not given. So I'll say du -c and star. Okay. So I am checking the disk usage of the all the files in the current directory. Okay, star means all files. So together you can see here, right? So path, comma current file count, comma current file size, comma file count, comma directory count, comma directory size, comma directory size on disk, right? So first one is path, right? Then second one is file count. In this folder there are 159 files are there, and total file size is this much. Then there again directory count is 1, directory size is this much, so it is same as the total file size. Then directory size on disk is this much. So note here that all these values are separated by comma. So it's not showing anything when I don't specify -c. So we'll add t. Yeah. So now you can see here I have specified du space -ct space dot. So dot refers to current directory. If you specify two dots, then it refers to the parent directory. For example, the current directory is sysinternal suite, right? What is the parent directory of sysinternal suite? It is downloads. So parent directory of downloads is GCD. Parent directory of GCD is users. Okay. So when you specify dot, it refers to the current directory. Okay. So now you can see here, right? So now it is properly formatted. Okay. At least something is properly formatted. It is better than the previous one. Okay. So if you add T, it will add a tab space. So I think you can also specify the file name here. So instead of dot, I'll say zoomit.exe. Okay, so you cannot specify a file name. This is very, very important. You have to specify the folder name. Okay, so now I have specified double dot. That means I am referring to the parent directory. Yeah, so now you can see here the path is C user GCD downloads. Then in downloads folder there are 485 files, right? And you can see here that there are other statistics. Okay, so 836 directories are there. So with just simple command, you will get the statistics about a folder. So this is very, very important. So any doubts? We can stop here. If you are having any doubts, you can ask. If there are no doubts, we can stop here.
సార్ కొంచెం రారా.
Sir, no doubt from my side.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
రాడు అంత లోపలే నిద్రపోతాడు. పిలిస్తే రావచ్చు కదా సార్, నిద్రపోతూనే ఉంటావు. సార్
ఏంటే
పిలుస్తుంటే రావచ్చు. అయిపోయిందో తెలియదు, అయిపోయలేదు.
చెప్తున్నాడు కదా నేను.
నీవు అన్నాడే అయిపోయింది. పిలిచినప్పుడు రావాలి సార్. మళ్ళీ నిద్రపోతే ఏమిట్లాము. ఇప్పుడు అయిపోయినట్టుంది. గంట అయింది, కరెక్ట్ గంటకి ఆఫీస్
అయిపోయింది.
బాగానే చెప్పాడు మరి.
భయపడే
తీసేసి అక్కడి నుంచి
భయపడా
ఇంత అన్ని టూల్స్ చెప్పాడు. డిస్క్ యూసేజ్, డిస్క్ మానిటర్, డిస్క్ ఎగ్జిట్, డిస్క్ ఎగ్జిట్, వాట్సాప్, దెన్ విమ్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్, షాడో కాపీ, క్రియేట్ వర్చువల్ మిషన్స్, విఎల్ వేరు, ఖాళీ
ప్రెజెంటేషన్
ఇది పెట్టు. మన దగ్గర పెట్టింది ఏం చెప్తాను. సెట్టింగ్స్ రాసుకో.
Okay, fine. So let us continue from the yesterday's class. So in yesterday's class, we have seen some file and disk utilities. This is cache side config, then disk to VSD, disk extension, disk monitors, disk usage, and so on. So continuing from the yesterday's discussion, we'll go to the next tool, that is disk view.
Disk view.
So to run disk view, either you can directly download it, but as we know that we have downloaded all the tools in our first class, so no need to download it again. So directly you have to navigate to the folder where all your tools are located. So just unzip the folder and navigate to the folder. So generally it is this is internal suite. So let us type this command disk view. Yeah. So now you can see here that at the bottom there are three drive letters, C drive, D drive and E drive. So these are the three drives available on my system. You can select any drive. So let's basically select the C drive only and click on refresh. Now when you click on refresh, it starts scanning the drive. So it will take some time. We may have to wait for a couple of minutes. Now basically what disk view does is it shows the graphical map of the hard disk. So you can see here there are different bars. You can click on any bar to get more details. So let us click on one of the bars. Now here. Now again what I am going to do is that in a larger part it's going to show the more details. So you can just scroll up or scroll down to select the part, or you can click on the smaller bars in the lower window. So just click on any highlighted area. So I have clicked on some blue area here. So now you can see here that it is showing some details, like what's the cluster on the disk, what's the file path, what's the file cluster. So it says that 154929477. So that's the range. Then it is also showing the file clusters and the disk clusters information. So now again you can see here that this is again same information. For example, cluster on a disk, file path, file cluster, file fragments and disk clusters, but this time for a different file. So this basically shows where your file is located on the hard disk. I'll end this tool so you can get to know more in-depth details about the files. There's more lower level details about the files such as the cluster number and the file fragments by using disk view tool. Now next tool is called as EFS dump. So basically this tool was introduced in Windows 2000. So EFS stands for encrypting file system. So if you want to protect your sensitive information, sensitive data, then you can make use of encrypting file system. So using EFS dump, you can get to know what accounts are authorized to access the encrypted files. So not all accounts are having access to encrypted files. So let us check in the current folder which all files are having the access. So I'll say EFS dump and start. So now you can see here that it is displaying the message that the specified file is not encrypted. So that means these files are not encrypted. But similarly, you can also specify the URL here and check. Please does not display the information. Let me check for a drive later. Okay. Okay, fine. So you can check whether a specific file is encrypted or not encrypted by checking by running the EFS dump command. So here I have said EFS dump zoomit.exe, which is a file in the present directory. So it says that error querying the file, and it says that the specified file is not encrypted. Now in case of encryption, there has been a recent development that is known as homomorphic encryption. In homomorphic encryption, what happens is that you perform computation on encrypted data. So earlier, what used to happen was whenever we used to get the encrypted files, the task was to decrypt the files. But now, the recent developments are in the homomorphic encryption or in the encryption domain. They help us to perform some computation, and they help us to guess what is the data or is there expected data in the file. But still, it's a very the research is in nascent stage, so still a lot of work needs to be done in that domain. So how it works is basically most of the encryption algorithms, they have homomorphic properties. So you take any algorithm, say RSA or LGAML or elliptic curve, So they have these homomorphic properties. So this technology allows us to explore the computational properties of even a compromised device. So those who are interested, they can just check what is homomorphic encryption and how it works. Then the next command is LDM dump. So LDM stands for Logical Disk Managers. So we know that whenever we have a hard disk, there will be physical disk drive and the logical disk drive. So now using LDM dump, you can get that information about the logical drives. So let's see whether this command works, because some commands need administrative privileges. So the usage is that you have to specify the command LDM dump, then space, then slash, then you have to write a letter D, and then you have to specify the hash. So hash stands for the disk number. So it says that error opening disk, access is denied. So I don't have permission to access the drive here. But if you have permission, then definitely it will display the information about the logical drives. But if you try to specify some other number, then it says that the system cannot find the file specified. So when you specify the correct drive number, at least you will come to know that it's existing. Next is move file. So actually this move file command is not present. So instead there is a new command that's known as bend moves. So bend moves does the task move file used to do. Now what happens, or when such files or when such commands we should be using, is that whenever we are updating a system, right, or whenever we are applying hot fixes, or whenever we are applying the upgrades to the system, right, we know that many times it also happens that we don't close all the applications. So the system should update even if the files are open. So in that case, what they do is the system will start updating even if some files are open, but they will be marked to be deleted when the system is restarted. So that's why you can see that whenever you are updating your system, basically after updating system or after upgrading system, it's a usual practice that the system suggests you to restart the device, be it a mobile phone or be it
చూడండి ఎవడన్నా జాయిన్ అవ్వచ్చు అవ్వమని చెప్పావా ఏమి వినట్లేదు
చెప్పా అన్నీ చెప్పా వాళ్ళ ఇష్టం అదేం
So
చేయాలి
let's execute bend moves on the
మూడు
command
మూడు
prompt.
సార్లు పెట్టా మెసేజ్ వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అవ్వాలంటే ఇంకేం చేస్తాం
So now you can see here that there are some files which are marked as delete. Right? Say for example here nsprocess.dll. Then there is some tmp file. There are actually few temporary files and nsprocess.dll. So these files are marked as delete. That means when I restart the system, these files will be deleted. So the reason is I might have applied a hotfix, or I might have selected the update, or I might have selected to install a patch. So even move file will do that, but you are specifically setting some file here. So let's say move file.
Only India.
Okay, so again, I cannot execute move file because of the permissions, but again, here with move file, you are marking some files to be deleted when you restart the system next time. So next command is regmon. Again, it's a registry monitor. So again, if you see here, registry monitors and file monitors, they are not available. Instead, they have been merged into a new tool called as process monitor. So we'll see process monitor later. So this is again important command, that is yes delete. So yes delete stands for secure delete. Now we know that whenever we delete a file, it is not actually deleted from the system. It is still present in the system. Say for example, even if you delete it from recycle bin, even if you format the computer, still that file is present. But now you want to make sure that once you delete a file, it should be unrecoverable. एक बार डिलीट कर दिया तो वो रिकवर नहीं होना चाहिए. So in that case, you can make use of yes delete. So yes delete ensures that if you delete a file, then it is unrecoverable. So with respect to forensics, if any file is deleted with yes delete, I think you need either more sophisticated tools or it is unrecoverable. But you cannot recover the
JFK.
file with basic tools.
మళ్ళీ ఏం చేయి ఇక్కడ ఏం చేయలేము చూస్తారు.
So let's see what happens here. Yes delete. So let's try to delete some file. So now you can see here that zoomit.txt file has been deleted, and since we have used yes delete command, it becomes hard to recover it using common data recovery software or common file recovery software. Next is sig check command. Again, it's a very useful utility. Now I am checking the signatures for all the files in this folder. Now you can see here that there is one parameter called as verified, and it said that it is signed. Right, so with sig check you can check whether your file is digitally signed or not. So this is very important step, because what happens is that in many package repositories, say for example there is a package repository of Python programming language, so that is known as PyPy. So in PyPy you will find that some packages have been uploaded maliciously, so which are actually malware, but they have been uploaded there. Now, how you can ensure that whatever package you have developed or whatever code you have written, or how you can ensure that whatever software you are downloading is secure, is that you need to check its signature. Is it signed using digital signature technology? So if it is signed, then you can consider that it is considerably safe software to download, install and use. So now you can see here that most of these softwares, they have been created by Microsoft Corporation, so that's why they have been verified and signed. But if there is some malicious software which is basically designed by some third party, then you cannot guarantee that it is digitally signed. Now you can see here most of the files, they are all signed. Okay, so maybe we can create a sample text file using Notepad, and let's store it in the same folder and then check its signature. I'll say this is a text file. I'll click on file, I'll click on save as, then I'll go to downloads folder, this internals. Now I'll say that test.txt, save. Now let me check here, quick check. Now you can see here that it said that it is unsigned. Okay, because I have not signed the test.txt using the digital signature. Even you can see here that when this file was created, who is the publisher, who is the company, right, description, no information is available. Okay, so using SigCheck, you can get the metadata information about a file and you can check whether it is signed or unsigned. If it is signed, then it is safe to use. If it is unsigned, then it is not safe to use. We cannot clearly say that it is not safe to use, but generally you can assume that it is not safe. Now, there is a website called as virustotal.com. So you can go to virustotal.com and check the particular file. You can upload a file and get the information about a file here. So I'll say that choose file. Then again I'll go to sysinternal suite and I'll select the same file. Now I'll say that confirm upload. So now you can see here that it has created the hash for the file. Then it is also checking the file against 40 plus antivirus tools. Okay, so you can see here that it has checked the uploaded file with 40 plus security vendors, and in most of the cases or in all the cases it says that undetected. That means no malware is found. So this is the method you can follow to check whether the file is flagged as malicious. So you can upload any file and check. So now you can see here that it is showing the best practices. Now what it has done is it has hashed the file with SHA-256 hashing algorithm. So there are many hashing algorithms such as MD5, SHA-1, SHA-256. So basically you can see here the SHA-256 generates the longer string here. That means it is more sophisticated algorithm because of 256 bits. Now the purpose of using hashing algorithm is that to check whether the file has been modified. Now let's assume a scenario that I am sending you a file with a message. So let's consider the same file, that is test.txt, with some message. Now you have I'll also compute the hash and I'll send you the hash code. Now when you receive the test.txt file, you can check whether the hash is same for the test.txt file. If it is same, then you can assume that in transmission, the file has not been modified. But after receiving the file and when you compute the hash, if you don't get the same hash code, then that's an indication that the file has been modified in between. So basically hashing algorithms or these digital signature algorithms, these are used to ensure that the message has not been altered. Okay, so if the hash code matches both at the sender and the receiver side, then that means that the file has not been modified. But now if I change the content of this text file, if I save it and if I upload it again, so this time it is going to generate a new hash code. So for our understanding, I will copy this hash code and store it in some other file. Now I'll again upload the same file and let's see whether it is going to generate same hash code or a different hash code. So now you can see on my screen that I have got two different hash codes for the same file. That means that the file has been modified. So in security, there is something called as CIA triangle or CIA triad. So that stands for in that CIA triad, I stands for integrity. So that you can ensure by using hashing algorithms. So similarly, you can upload any file or you can specify any URL here and do the analysis. So let me check for some website here. Okay. So now you can see here that it says that no security vendors flagged this URL as malicious. So you can see here that the report is clean. similarly, if you click on details, you can see here that it's giving you some more details such as the history. So first it was submitted on 3/10/2021, and these are some more information. Now again, there is a hash code which is SHA-256. Now you can also see here that, of course, it is showing that the URL has not been flagged, but it is also giving some information, right, which is actually not good. Say for example, it says that it is developed using WordPress 6.1.1. Then it is also showing me the theme name and its version. It is also showing me which framework is used. So it's a WP Zoom framework. Then what are the plugins installed on this website? And so on. So how people can secure things is that they can hide this information. So when they hide this information, it becomes difficult for people, right, to know which technology has been used to develop the website. Otherwise, if they get this information, they can easily go to the website and try to identify the vulnerabilities present in that version. Say for example, if it is WordPress 6.1.1, then hackers usually know what are the vulnerabilities, what are the loopholes in 6.1.1. So the solution is the hardening. So hardening is nothing but changing the custom settings. Don't use default settings, because default settings are known to the whole world. Okay, so it is always better that you change the default settings to custom settings, and do not reveal the information. As much as possible, try to hide the information. So similarly, you can check for some other website also here. Again, no detections. Let me go to the details. Yeah, fine. So it is exactly the details on the meta tags. So if we have to secure this website, then we have to make sure that the meta tags information is hidden. And it also shows which are the outgoing links from the website. So with this you can come to know that whether your website is redirecting to some unwanted websites. So virustotal.com is a very nice website. You can explore more here. Now it has got lots of useful features. So one such feature is that it has got APIs. Say for example, if you go to API here, version 3, from this virustotal.com website, and you can integrate into your own application. If you are building some applications, then you can integrate VirusTotal API into your application, and you can customize it. Say for example, if I want to analyze file behavior, all these properties are available to me. Okay, so based on my requirement, I can integrate or I can use a particular API and build a custom application. So you can see here that there are lots of options are available, lots of categories are available. There is one more tool called as API scripts. So if you click on API scripts, here you can find some code examples. So based on the language, so it's available in Auto-IT, then Bash, Python, Ruby, and other languages. So if I click on VirusTotal hunting here, so I get the example application. So you need the API key here to execute this application. You can see here that the developer has already mentioned the requirements and how to use it, how to configure it. But this application is developed using Python. So similarly, there are some other tools. So if you click on them, then basically it's taking you to the developers GitHub repository. So you can download this source code, follow the instructions mentioned here, configure it, and explore more. Now there are some browser extensions are also available. So for example, if I click on browser extensions, so note here that browser extensions are available for Google Chrome, Mozilla, even Internet Edge browsers. And when you install the browser extension, you can get option like this here, that is BT for browsers, that's VirusTotal for browsers. You can scan any link, you can scan the current page, or you can insert the text or hash to search directly from the browser. So that is the advantage of using the browsers, browser extensions. So you have got desktop apps, you have got mobile apps. Okay, so you can install these applications and explore more. you can see here that SigCheck is a very comprehensive tool because there are lots of options available for SigCheck. Let us execute the command mentioned here. So let's wait for the output. So this is basically going to check all the unsigned files in this Windows/System32 folder. Yeah. So it has said that there is a file called as d3dref9.dll which is unsigned. But again it says that this is the file from Microsoft. Let's wait for a couple of minutes
సార్ చూడండి ఆ అమ్మాయి కూడా వెళ్ళిపోయిందా ఏంటి?
to see the output.
వెళ్ళిపోయి ఏం చేస్తా ఇప్పుడు ఎవరి మాత్రం ఏం చేస్తా
ఉందా ఒకళ్ళన్నా లేరా చూద్దాం.
నీ దాంట్లోనే ఉంటుంది నీకు కనపడట్లేదా
మళ్ళా ముట్టుకుంటే ఏదైనా పోతుందని చూస్తాను.
ముట్టుకోకు పోతుంది పోయింది కూడా సార్ బయట
చార్ట్ ఉంటారు కదా, నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఉంటారు.
వాళ్ళే ఎక్కున్నారు
వీళ్ళు ముగ్గురు ఉంటే వాళ్ళు ముగ్గురు ఉన్నారు.
నేను ఇస్తాను వాళ్ళ
టూ మచ్ అని అవన్నీ చూడడం నేను ఇప్పుడు నేను రాసుకుంటున్నా సీరియస్గా. బలం పట్టక తిరుగుతుంది.
గజేంద్ర ఉన్నాడు.
Let's check in the correct folders.
ఇప్పుడు ఏం ముట్టుకుంటే ఏం పోతుందో ఏం లేదు, ఉన్నాయి నడిచేది రాసేది
రాసుకున్నా నేను వేలు పెట్టిస్తుంటాడు. చెప్పకపోతే చెప్పలేదంటారు, చెప్తే రారు.
So for that folder it says that verified but the certificate was explicitly revoked by its issuer. Yeah. So in that case you may have to sign it again with a different certificate authority. We had one more file here, test.php. I don't know why it has ignored it. No matching files were found. Right. Next is streams. Streams is a different concept than files basically, but you can also store information into the streams and access the information from the stream. So let's try to create a stream. So I'll say echo hello, and I'll use the redirection operator. And I'll say stream. So test is the name of the stream. So we have created a stream now. So let's try to access the information. I'll say more, and this time less than operator, and I'll specify the string. Okay, let's check the command. Okay. So you can see here that this is how we can create a string and we can access the string. So generally in programming languages, the streams concept will be there. So whenever you read the content from a file or write the content to a file, in some programming languages like Java, you create file streams or data streams or IO streams. You write the data to those streams first and then to the file. So even in programming languages like C, we create something called as file handles, right? So these file handles are basically, or these streams are basically temporary storage for programming languages and the compilers, that they first get the information from the file and store it in the stream and perform the operations written by the programmer. Then after the operation is complete, they write back the data to the files, update the files. So let's see how this command works. So now you can see here that it is displaying some file streams. So it is displaying the information from data stream. Of course, it is not displaying the content. Now, how this will be useful is that if the system is not shut down, then the information may be available in the volatile memory, and in that volatile memory, maybe there are some streams which are open, and if you want to get the data for investigation from those open streams, then you can use such tools like streams. The next tool is called as sync. Sync is a very useful tool basically. So most of you might have used sync tool. So nowadays everyone uses sync tool. Say for example, you might be updating or uploading the WhatsApp chats to your Google Cloud. Right, so your WhatsApp tool is taking the backup of your chats, messages, videos and updating it to the drive, and whenever you reinstall it, it loads them from the Google Cloud or whatever cloud you have configured, right? So similarly you have Microsoft Cloud, right? So once it is configured, all your local files are moved or its copy is made to Microsoft Cloud. Then similarly you have Apple. So Apple has got Apple Cloud, right? So whenever you create a file, basically it is synced and it is moved to the cloud. So basically you are making a persistent copy of the files from your drive to the some safer location. Now if I say sync, no, this is not going to work because we need to specify the destination here. Yeah. So there are two parameters you need to specify. One is -R to flush removable drives, then -E to eject removable drives. So I don't have any removable drive right now. But if you have a removable drive like USB, yeah. So if you have a removable drive like USB, then you can basically sync your persistent drive and removable drive. So your content from removable drive will be moved to persistent drives so that you can access it later. But it's a more common phenomena now. So you will find many tools. So sync is just one tool, but there are many alternative tools in the market. So you might be using one or the other sync tools. So next and the last tool today we are discussing is the volume ID tool. So with volume ID tool you can change the volume ID. So again I cannot change it. Here if I say volume ID it says flushing. Okay. Sync. I need to specify some hexadecimal format here which will assign a new ID to the volume. So it's just changing of the volume ID, so it's not of that importance. But in today's class, whatever we have discussed, few tools are important. Here one is sig check, then second one is yes delete, and third one is band moves, and fourth one is EFS dump. So these tools are really important. So which will help you to find more information and they may help in some sort of investigation.
నువ్వేం చెప్పుతా నీకు నువ్వు ఇంట్లో ఇది ఆన్ చేసి
If
నువ్వు
there are any
వేరే
doubts, I can take up the doubts and answer your doubts.
Sir, I'm good. We will go through those few tools and get back to you if you have any doubt. Thank you.
Welcome.
ఇద్దరు ఆడపిల్లలు ఉన్నారు ఊయండి
Gajan sir will have the next session Monday, that is tomorrow.
Yes, madam.
Same time 6 to 7, I think same link also.
Yes,
Puram
ma'am.
note down will be on the same link tomorrow also. ठीक है गजन साहब,
Thank you.
will leave. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Right.
Thank you.